Well, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Donald Trump commented on his current relationship with China. There's been some turbulence with the tariffs, the back and forth retaliatory nature of them. We had at one point around 150% tariff on China. They had 130% tariff on us. They've since been brought down. There's a preliminary framework agreement on a trade deal that has not fully been completed yet. It was reported several times it's been completed, but I don't believe it's been completed yet. But Trump made some big headlines yesterday saying he will allow 600,000, so just north of 500,000 Chinese foreign students to study in the US. And you can see double the current number. Now, obviously, the base is not going to like this. There's not much to like from an America First perspective, allowing foreign nationals into the country to study at some of the most prestigious universities in the name of giving the Ivy League schools and the better schools more money because they are paying out-of-pocket tuition. That's kind of how they frame these things. 600,000 spots. And some of these kids stay in America. Some of them go back to China. Either way, it's a form of value extraction for China to send their kids to get educated in some of the most luxurious institutions in the United States. It's not a good thing. 600,000, they say double the current number. And so you can see Howard Lutnick try and explain this away. And this is very bad. I mean, there's really no other way to characterize this when you look at Laura Ingraham, who it seemed like she was going to challenge Lutnick on the administration. Lutnick completely sidesteps the question, and then Ingraham doesn't push him at all. And I remember a photo. It's interesting how the internet always like focuses on something and something goes viral one week and then something goes viral the next week on X. It's kind of funny how that works. But there was this photo of a dinner, and I don't know the exact framing of who was at the dinner, but maybe it was like Cal Berkeley kids or Silicon Valley, something of that nature. And it's just a bunch of Chinese kids. And it's like, this is, what our prestigious institutions are. And then there were liberals in the comments saying, well, you don't believe in meritocracy. What is meritocracy? Just globalism? I mean, obviously, we're going to value native-born Americans to go to our top universities, not people that it's like, so American citizens, young Americans that were born in this country, we have to compete with everyone across the globe. Like if somebody in India or China is more smart than we are, they get our spot because, oh, it's meritocracy. No, it's just globalism. We obviously don't believe in that. So let's just see what this is. This is not good from Howard Lutnick, and it seemed like Laura Ingraham was going to question him here, and then she kind of backs off.
It's very important.
Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, how is allowing 600,000 students from the communist country of China putting America first?
Well, the president's point of view is that what would happen if you didn't have those 600,000 students is that you'd empty them from the top. All the students would go up to better schools, and the bottom 15% of universities and colleges would go out of business in America. So his view is he's taking a rational economic view, which is classic Donald Trump, looking at higher education and saying,
but why are you
until
helping
we
Harvard?
Modify that.
That just
What's
helps
that?
Harvard and UCLA and UCal Berkeley and I mean you're all helping those schools. Why? They're like, basically factories of anti-American propaganda. And now they're getting a big influx of cash because of the Chinese students. I know President Trump has always been very pro-Chinese student. I just don't understand it for the life of me. Those are 600,000 spots that American kids won't get.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm involved in. I'm involved in changing the H-1B program, right? We're going to change that program because that's...
Yeah. She's like, that's a scam. But we were talking about something else. Why did we just pivot to the H-1B? And I don't know, are they even going to change anything within the H-1B? Somebody was telling me, they were like, well, I'd rather them change the H-1B and allow the Chinese students to study in the United States because it's a foreign, student visa or whatever. They go back home. But again, that's just education extraction from the United States. So they come to study and be educated in the United States. Then they go back and they take it back to China. But like this whole idea of, I don't even think they're going to change anything with the H-1Bs, are they? I mean, I guess we'll see. I know that was a big That was a big snafu back around Christmas with Ramaswamy, but it seemed like Trump was defending Ramaswamy when it comes to the H-1Bs. H-1Bs are an extremely capitalist principle in the sense of you're able to extract labor for very cheap, especially when the H-1B people, the people that come over, they've got a green card hanging over their head. They have to work extremely hard. So Trump is more pro H-1B. He's pro immigration. Immigration is pro capitalism because you import labor for cheaper. It's the most common thing. So, and when it comes to this 600K thing, I mean, Trump's very wealthy. He knows a lot of wealthy people. That is the argument what Ludnick was using. It was like, well, none of the bottom 15, the bottom 20 universities would be able to stay afloat without these 600K Chinese students because they pay their own tuition, which I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like it would be it would be higher value in the United States for the government to keep those schools afloat if something catastrophic happened, because kids, that previously would not, I mean, he's basically saying American kids that are blocked by the Chinese kids would now be able to go to the elite institutions. That's what he's saying. And then the lower institutions would have no money. But so I mean, the whole thing to me is just so backwards. I feel like there's a much better way to do it, especially if they're saying he's doubling it. I mean, that's what this article says right here. He will allow 600K Chinese to study in the U.S., double the current number. And he says he's getting along. I can't even read this. That's great. You click on any one of these articles, there's going to be a paywall on pretty much everything, or 1,000 ads, and you're not allowed to even go on the website without disabling your ad blocker. So 600K, it's, that's a tough thing for the administration. There's no doubt about it. And it seemed like they were going to try and challenge Ludnick. All right, we'll see what he says about the H-1B.
It's terrible, right? We're going to change the green card. We give green cards. The average American makes $75,000 a year, and the average green card recipient, $66,000. So we're taking the bottom quartile. Right. Like, why are we doing that? That's why Donald Trump is going to change it. That's the gold card that's coming. And that's we're going to start picking the best people to come into this country. It's time for that to change.
I think our American engineering students need to be given the first role at every job, and I think they're brilliant when given half a chance. But Mr. Secretary, I know you're juggling a lot of balls over there. We really appreciate a lot of this to us. Thank you.
So it's like she just lets him off. She's like, what's going on with this? Why are these 600K students allowed in the United States? And then he's like, what about the H-1Bs? But I'm not even sure he said anything about the H-1Bs. The other thing is, they say, well, the United States would never survive, or our GDP would go down. I mean, the country officially was birthed in 1776. Within 200 years, we were the #1 biggest superpower in the world. So within 2 centuries, we became the #1 biggest superpower with a 90% Caucasian population. But no. The only way the United States can survive with our #1 GDP is through this rabid globalism slop, where we just import people, and because the Chinese are smarter. I mean, the population is 4 or 5 times bigger than it is in the United States. Bring them all in, and it's a way for Harvard and for Yale and for Ivy League schools to make money because they pay their own way. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not too surprised that Trump is taking this route. I know there was some arguments. It seemed like Trump was originally against. Although Laura Ingraham did say he's always been for it, it seemed like I had read something to where Trump was pushing back against the foreign, because he was insinuating that they were spies, which inevitably some of them are, that come over from China. Of course, you're going to get that. If there's 600,000, of course, some of them are going to be gathering some form of intelligence. That's just, that seems rather obvious. You also do have this. This was a big story yesterday about Trump signing the executive order, making it illegal to burn flags. People saying this is a big constitutional thing. It's going to be challenged. This is free speech. It's the First Amendment. And so I guess I'll share my thoughts on this. You can see people equating this to the LGBT flag situation, to where if you burn an LGBT flag, they say it's a hate crime. But if you burn an American flag, there's no criminality involved in it. This is what I'll say about burning an American flag. This is not a left versus right issue. It's more of a United States issue. It's a symbol. You take a look at something like the bald eagle. The bald eagle is protected even though it's not endangered anymore. It's our mascot. You're not allowed to touch a bald eagle. You touch a bald eagle, there's going to be a big problem. It's the same thing, and it's going to be the same thing with the American flag because it's our national symbol. Trump is not saying you can't burn a MAGA flag or a flag that's in relation to supporting him. This is the American flag. It's neutral. It's not Democrat. It's not Republican. Now, recently, it's been like the American flag has been more Republican because liberals hate the idea of nationalism and they feel guilty about being nationalist in a white country. But this is just the reality of it. It is supposed to be neutral. It's just the American flag. Our flag is our symbol. You're not going to burn it in our country. That's the reality. And it's a little bit different when you're talking about the First Amendment because there are exceptions. And this is an exception that is based around just the American flag. It's not specifically tied to, oh, you can't talk bad about Donald Trump or you can't burn Trump paraphernalia. This is a neutral symbol. That is our flag. This is our country. You're not going to burn our flag in our country. If you do, you're going to face consequences. So there are exemptions, and I know it's a slippery slope. I understand that. But, it is interesting because yesterday I was saying, well, when you burn an LGBT flag, it's more of a destruction of property issue. Like when people burn the American flag, they'll buy an American flag, they'll go out in public, and then they'll burn it. And they'll say, well, that's my property, so I can burn it. As opposed to the LGBT, a lot of the stories that people were citing it was not their property. It was not their flag. They were burning a city's flag or someone else's flag. And so that's where it becomes more of a, but if this is true and you buy your own LGBT flag and you burn it and they say that's hate speech, well, yeah, then it should be completely illegal to burn an American flag if that's what's going on. I think a lot of it is a property destruction thing rather than something to where if you burn a flag, of an American flag, a lot of these people, they buy their own. But you know what Trump was saying yesterday? He was saying it incites a riot when you burn an American flag. Because it's very inflammatory. If you go out in public with an American flag, you burn it, there's going to be people that are very disgruntled. They're not going to be happy. And so Trump says it causes a riot. But I just think in general, the American flag, it's the national symbol of the United States. You can't touch a bald eagle. The bald eagles are not endangered anymore. They were endangered. They're not endangered anymore. You're not going to desecrate our flag. It's just not going to happen. And then they try and equate it to the First Amendment, which is so rich and so hilarious because they don't believe in free speech on the internet. Remember when they controlled everything and then banned all conservatives and then banned anyone that talked differently about the vaccine and COVID and all of that? They didn't have a problem with that. They still don't think that, even though we know how impactful and important the internet is. The only reason why that, remember how much of a story that was back in 2021 and 2020, and because they controlled all of social media. Now that Musk is controlling X, it's opened everything up and it's made other social media platforms have to loosen and evolve because of how open X is. So that's why you do have to always, in a way, even though Musk, he has his moments, him opening up X is just such a massive thing because that is the new way in which politics is discussed. It's on X, it's on YouTube, it's on the social media platforms. You can reach so many more people in such a quick amount of time. And so, it equates to all of this, and they talk about the First Amendment when they don't believe in the First Amendment on the internet. You've got this, part of what today's piece tries to reconcile with is that, quote, when they go low, we go high, has to be seen as a tactical failure for Democrats. It's interesting to me that so many leftist liberals and even people like Silver feel like the Democrats have been taking the high road. Well, it's cope. It's, we're such good people. We have such a moral standing. If we just played dirty like those evil Republicans, we would win every election. Meanwhile, the only reason they win the popular vote every 4 years outside of 2024 is because they've imported a bunch of immigrants. And then they shut down all free speech on the internet for Republicans for like 5 years until Musk opened it up. But, those evil Republicans, if we just played as dirty as them, we would win every... It's just pure cope. That's what it is. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.